Hello, and welcome to this political edition of Florida by the Numbers. I'm Alex Coelho, Director of Data and Analytics here at the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Today we'll be talking about the latest developments in Florida's election landscape as we head toward the 2026 elections. The big news of the week, of course, is redistricting. Earlier this week, Governor DeSantis outlined and revealed new congressional district map proposals for Florida's 28 congressional districts. While at this time, as we film this, final passage is yet to happen, we expect that these maps, or perhaps maps with just slight tweaks, will pass both houses of the Florida legislature and be enacted for the 2026 elections. These new maps make some significant changes to Florida's congressional landscape. Most notably, in Tampa and St. Petersburg, Greater Orlando, and in Southeast Florida. From a purely political perspective, these maps also impact Florida's upcoming elections in November. On these new congressional district maps, 24 of the 28 districts would have voted for President Trump in the 2024 general election, all of them by at least 9 percentage points. This would represent, if it were replicated in November, an increase of 4 congressional districts for Republicans out of the state of Florida in this latest round of what has become a national game of redistricting between the two major parties. Of course, past elections don't always replicate future elections. And so the question will be, if these maps are passed, will the 2026 political landscape in Florida look as it did in 2024 and 2022? If it doesn't, some of these new districts may be in play for Democrats more than appear at first glance. Democrats will be hopeful that this might be the case after last month's special elections across the state of Florida in 3 state legislative districts. As you remember, Democrats gained in both Senate District 14 and House District 87, representing a net gain of 1 seat in the Senate and 1 seat in the House for the Florida Democrats. Notably, House District 87 was a district won by 10.5% by President Trump in 2024. Should that sort of swing be replicated in November, several of these new districts proposed for the congressional delegation of Florida may well be in play for Democrats. Of course, special elections don't always replicate what happens in general elections, and so we'll have to see as the months go on whether the continued landscape remains favorable for Democrats or if Republicans rebound from March's special elections. And as we look toward the November 2026 general election ballot, Florida has over 2,000 races statewide, from the lowest of local levels all the way up to governor and U.S. Senate. Last week, although qualifying for congressional districts was delayed due to the potential for redistricting, qualifying for the U.S. Senate took place. And we see both parties with primaries where one candidate is heavily favored. For Republicans, Senator Ashley Moody, who of course was appointed to replace Marco Rubio in the U.S. Senate after Rubio became Secretary of State, drew only 3 nominal challengers for the Republican nomination and to be seen as a presumptive nominee for Republicans in November. On the Democratic side, 2 candidates qualified: State Representative Angie Nixon from Jacksonville and Alex Vindman, most notable for his role in the first impeachment effort against President Trump during President Trump's first term. Vindman has capitalized on this celebrity amongst progressive activists by raising over $8 million in his first quarter in this election, dwarfing what Representative Nixon was able to raise. This puts Vindman in a good position to win the Democratic nomination in August and face Senator Moody in a November general election. Moody remains a clear favorite, but Vindman's fundraising prowess, should it be replicated through the fall, could turn this race into one of the more expensive Senate races in the 2026 landscape across the nation. And as we look toward June and the qualifying for statewide races at the Florida level, many of these races have remained static, with one notable exception. Earlier this week, incumbent Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson officially filed for re-election, ending months of speculation about his intentions for 2026. At this time, Simpson faces neither Republican nor Democratic opposition of any note, as is the case for Chief Financial Officer Blaise Ingoglia, looking to retain his seat as Chief Financial Officer after his appointment last year. In the governor's race, both races have stayed static in terms of the number of candidates, but we have seen fundraising reports for the first quarter of 2026. In the Republican field, Congressman Byron Donalds continues to outpace his challengers, having raised over $58 million for his bid to become Florida's next governor as of March 31st. Democrats have raised far less, but former Congressman David Jolly has eclipsed the $5 million mark in his bid to be the Democratic nominee for governor in his race against Jerry Demings. As these primaries continue to develop, we'll continue watching the latest trends and any additional candidates who may jump in at the last minute. As we look toward the November landscape, one thing we continue to monitor here at the Florida Chamber is voter registration across Florida. As of the latest report from the State Division of Elections, Republicans are just under the 1.5 million mark in terms of their lead over Democrats amongst active registered voters. Republicans continue to grow this lead, as they have for several years, although the pace in recent months has slowed down, from gaining roughly 25 or 30,000 a month to around 10,000 a month as we get closer to the November 2026 elections. We'll continue monitoring any additional developments on the voter registration front as well. And here at the Florida Chamber, we're preparing to hit the road with our Florida Chamber Political Institute members to interview more than 100 candidates across the state for state legislative office over the next 2 months. It's an exciting time for our political operations team, and if you'd like more information about our Florida Chamber Political Institute, please contact Executive Director Marion Johnson. We're also looking to the future of Florida politics, 2026 and beyond. Our Florida Institute for Political Leadership, a nonpartisan training class aimed at training the next generation of pro-business candidates from both parties to run for office, continues holding classes across the state. These online classes take place regionally in partnership with local chambers across the state. And if you'd like more information on upcoming classes of the Florida Institute for Political Leadership, please reach out to Andrew Wiggins. November will be here before we know it, and the Florida Chamber Political Operations team is ramping up its efforts across the state to make sure that free enterprise is defended from the top of the ticket to the bottom and everywhere in between. And if you'd like more information on how to be a part of the Florida Chamber's efforts to support the business community and pro-business candidates, please reach out to our Executive Vice President, Frank Walker. And for any additional information on today's video or questions about the latest landscape of Florida politics, I'm always available at my contact information here. On behalf of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, I'm Alex Coelho, thanking you for helping us continue to secure Florida's future.